In this video, we're going to talk about the basics of navigating service calls. So service calls, very similar to systems we've used in the past. Service calls are site visits that are not related to an actual sold project. They are site visits typically related to fixing an issue, whether it be from an existing client or existing project, or a new client or a new project. So what you'll see on the dashboard screen here towards the top, obviously, are the week's schedule tasks are always listed first. And then you'll see towards the bottom the upcoming service calls. You can go through and do some minor things here on the actual dashboard page. You can actually start or view the service call. But for the purposes of kind of completeness, I'm going to go through the toolbar at the bottom and I'm going to navigate over here to calls. So on the calls page, you'll see any service calls that you are scheduled for. This one specifically, service call number 1002. Those numbers are automatically generated. It is for 3/29/24. The client's name is Shaka Khan. It is in Clovis, California. The issue is the client reported the TV was falling off the wall, and the time slot it's scheduled for is from 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. The buttons that are on this page are pretty useful. We're not going to talk much about the reschedule button for now because that's something that you probably won't be using in the field. So we're going to talk about the other two, which is begin and view. Let's go ahead and start with viewing, and we'll come back to the begin button. So viewing lets you deal with and review the specifics of the service call that have been set up in the office. So at the very top button, there's something that you should be aware of next to the service call 1002 on the extreme right. There's that little green notepad button. And when you tap it, that's the internal notes. So keep in mind that anything that you put into a service call, with the exception of this box, is going to be able to be reported potentially to a client via invoicing. So the internal notes are really for any communications that you want to send back to the office that is not something you might necessarily want a client to see. Obviously, that can be specific notes about customer requests or any observations you're making. Hey, looks like we messed up on a previous call, or we forgot to do something. Those types of things that we would not necessarily want a client to see would be here in internal notes. I'm going to go ahead and close this field for now. At the top bar, you'll see the client's name. You'll see a hot link for email, for phone, and for address. So if you tap those will bring up those fields. You can also view the client details by pressing the View Client Details information. So here's the pop-up window. So you have the address, which if I tap on it, that will bring up the actual Google Maps. The site notes. So site notes are what we will put in the office or what you can put in the field that are pertinent to the site. Something that may be common here is a gate code. So we might have this hopefully from information before you get scheduled. Of course, you're also able to update these fields as well so that they're available to anybody else going forward. You'll see the contact email, the contact phone number. Again, there's that reschedule button. We were not going to really talk about that today. And you'll also see the call details button, which when you click it, essentially is the same as closing it. It brings you back to the start of this page. So the issues reported, service history. Issues reported right now is going to be what we're sending you out there for. Over time, if there's multiple service calls on this same ticket, you'll see the service history. You won't see that obviously initially, and we'll get more into service history as we get into another video further down the road. So we have the area next, which is the issue found, the actions taken, and the next steps. That's the information that's going to be important for field users to supply about what was done in the field so that we can log that and we can include that on customer invoice information. Just as a quick example, issue found, the TV mount was fine. It was an articulating mount and the client didn't know. So the issue you found, action taken, none. Everything was cool. And the next steps, none at this time. So alternatively, the ways you could use those fields, next steps might be the client wants us to come back and do something else, or the client would like somebody in sales to reach out. Basically anything that you feel is pertinent, that is important for us to know when we're reviewing the service orders or service calls in the office. This is a great place to put it. Checklists are very similar to project checklists. Here at the office, we said, hey, make sure the TV doesn't fall. Yep, I did that. And you also have the opportunity to add your own items to the checklist. So that is extremely useful if you know that you're going to be coming back and there's something you don't want to be forgotten about. That's a great place to put that information. The repair product, replace product, additional products used. Repair product and replace product is not something you're going to be dealing with, at least initially. Repair products is intended for logging items that we take out of a job site to have repaired. Replace product is for RMA products. We're not really logging those. We don't bring products back for repair generally, so that's not something that's going to be frequently used. But the additional products used is, and that's for things that you use on site. And we'll get into that in another video. The schedule, your schedule when you're supposed to be there, Friday between 2 and 4. And then attachments. Attachments might be something that we put in there in the field, might be things that you want to have in here, for instance, photos of an issue. Attachments are just a great place, again, for further communications about a specific service call. So that's kind of the basic information about the dashboard and the general view of a service call. We'll talk about in another video how you edit products, add products rather, edit your time, and log that information as well.